Here's why I wanted to talk to Maddie is because she works really, really hard. And once she kind of gets it, she can connect it. And so can you talk about finding some of the connections? Do you know what I mean? Like for instance, taking how you found what we talked about, shifting your weight forward and being able to get up on your legs so that you could actually balance.
I really didn't know anything about where, like, I had no idea, like, in first and you tendu, I didn't know you were supposed to, like, follow that tendu leg and, like, be, like, all sprawled out. I didn't know you had to be on your leg. I
yell that I always talk about transferring weight.
Well, this was, like, last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so you didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, this is what it looks like, so that's what I'm doing, and it's not working out, so I have to...
Okay, let me ask you a question. Because I feel like, maybe not in specific words, and maybe not, because every year I get obsessed, or, like, semester by semester I get obsessed with things. Like, now it's apalmo, sometimes, like, it's always the pelvis, but, like, sometimes transferring weight, like, I'm noticing that nobody's transferring their weight, so I like, go headlong into a transfer your weight, platform. But now that you're connecting some of these things, are you hearing some of the things that your teachers are saying differently? Like, are you hearing them now because you've got it connected? Does that make sense? Like, I'm asking, maybe was all this stuff kind of out there and just floating around and it just wasn't landing?
I was getting like, do this. But I was like, all right, thank you.
But so maybe you weren't hearing some of the stuff because you couldn't connect it. Like, it just didn't make
like get your
sense
hip
to you.
Like, get your hip down. I just physically couldn't put my hip down.
And did it never occur to you? No, because I know you've asked me, but would you ask, how do I get my hip down?
Probably not last year.
And why was that? What's different?
Because there was so much to ask.
There was like,
yeah.
Okay, all right. So I think this is a good lesson to learn because it is overwhelming when there's so much stuff. But what made you break through? Because now you are asking questions and now you're getting the information and it's starting to settle in your body and things are starting to click. So there's a lot of students that feel overwhelmed. It's like, there's just so much I have to do. What do you suggest to them?
Like, in order to get stuff to click, you need to... I like my dance journal and I write down, which Miss Howard made me do.
Yes.
And I write down stuff I hear, like, all week, like, from all these different teachers, and I'm like, so I'm getting this correction over and over again. I have to do something about it. If I don't understand it, I ask someone. So
okay, so now here's the other thing that I wanted to talk about, because we talked about this yesterday and we decided to have this conversation. What did you tell me yesterday about the dance journal relative to this year versus last year, when I actually gave, last year was my experiment with the dance journal, and I gave the kids a format and everything, and this is what happened. Go ahead, tell the
last year we got our format and we were like, oh, this is too much, like, and we just, like, wrote crap down.
So you're a good student.
I am.
And this is how a good student related to
I was like, I have to do every week, but I don't really care about every week.
And did you ever look back into the dance journal last year? Okay, so...
No.
Okay, all right. So, now the dance journal. What's the dance journal transformation?
I don't know. I kind of, like... I'm not following the exact format. I'm just getting down what I need to think about, the stuff that's gonna help me, the stuff that I want to help, and, like, I write down the exact correction. I write, like, notes, like, this really worked, this didn't work, like, like, I literally write that.
And then talk a little bit about, like, what how you use it in review, because I thought that was really interesting.
Because
writing it down is just one part of the process. Like, you write it down and you chart all this stuff. But then how do you actually use your dance journal to help you improve?
So I have like 4 classes almost every day, which is pretty intense. And I just get down everything that I can remember, which is most of my corrections. So, and then at the end of the week, Saturday afternoon, I just look through everything. I'm like, and usually I remember, I like take note, like, oh, this, I hear this a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, I write down, this is the second time I've heard this. And I write, at the end of the week, a weekly review, like, patterns in my corrections. So, like, one week in Graham, I was hearing, like, shoulders over hips in contraction, which is, like, a basic thing. But, like, I wasn't getting it in, like, a certain position, so I was, like, really need to think about that. And the next week, and I haven't heard it since, so.
So now you can see when you've gotten the correction, how many times, and then when it goes away.
Yeah.
And when it goes away, obviously you've made the adjustment.
Sometimes I do have, like, my off week, so I'm just like, I don't feel like writing in my journal, but that's also like, sometimes I'm dancing 6 hours a day. Like,
well, you don't have to beat yourself up about it,
yeah,
but it's
exactly.
the idea. You know what's really interesting for me about, it's because I give it as an assignment, and I say it's what I want you to do.
But that's how I thought about it last year. I thought about it, like, as an assignment, not something that's going to benefit me. I was, like, scared to death of Miss Howard, first of all, at the beginning of the year.
Thank you.
And I was like, if I don't do this, she's going to, like,
I'm going to stab you
fail
in your
me.
eye.
Yeah.
No, and what's funny about it is like, I think maybe a lot of people thought that way because I would rarely ask for them.
And it was like, a lot of us hadn't had you before.
Right, it's true.
Yeah. And
but that was my first year really giving the dance journal to you all. Which, it was really interesting. Here's what I'm going to say. It was really interesting to see who actually did the dance journal and who didn't.
Yeah.
When I say did it it doesn't mean perfectly. It means made an attempt to fulfill that sort of obligation of writing down corrections and compliments and having an intention and stuff like that. And people who didn't. What I notice, and this year I'm noticing it too, what I notice is that the people that are the most engaged and present in class generally are the people who are keeping that journal.
Yeah. And
the people that, like, haven't done it are the people who, like, are just kind of not getting it. It's just not happening for them. And I attribute that to, and you can tell me if from a student's point of view, whether I'm off, I attribute that to sort of like how engaged you are in your learning, just period. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, I know I kind of don't want to do this, but somebody's asked me to do it. It's a part of the curriculum. I'm going to have to do it. But instead, like, these people, if I was giving a letter grade, I would have failed the majority of my classes. Yeah. My students, because they just didn't, like, literally, we had been in class for 3 months, and some people had, like, 2 pages not filled in their dance journal.
And now I do, like, 2 pages for 1 class.
Okay, so let's talk about these changes, and both in your dancing and in your body, and how has that changed how you feel? You always seem to have, like, a pretty healthy body image to me. Is that true or not?
Like, when I was in middle school, I was like, I'm chubby. Like, I would have little bits of, like, oh, I wish I wasn't so chubby. But I didn't really care. I was like, I like goldfish. I'm going to eat them. And then,
But see, I think that's great. My question is how did you maintain that sort of laissez-faire idea about your body when you come back to New York and you are not just back in New York, which is a different body aesthetic from Mississippi, but you're in the dance world and, like, in an art school, which, you know, has a certain level of intensity dance-wise and just intensity to it. How do you not... And there's a diversity of body types. So you'll have, like, the super skinny twiggy girl, and you'll have the muscular girl, and you'll have the short girl. Like, how do you maintain that sort of level head? Because some people could have gone, doot, 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 doot.
I do get, like... I still get it, like, my thighs are a little bit chubby, but then I just, like, think about how far...
how chubby they were.
And, like, I say to myself, like, there's stuff you can do about it.
What I'm hearing is that you are very proactive. Like, you're very compassionate with yourself. Like, you go like, okay, you know, I've done all this stuff. This is the day that I didn't do it. Okay, it's a day. But you don't allow it to become like a cyclical, like, oh my God, now it's been a month that I haven't done. But I think that that's something that's in your personality. Do you think? All right. Well, thank you for talking to me.
Yay.
And if you want, maybe we'll do a follow-up. I don't know what we're going to follow up on, but we can think about it. Okay. All right.
Maybe when I'm in a company.
Yes, or we could talk about your audition process.
Okay.
Something like that. We'll figure it out. All right.